Today's agenda point is to discuss about the new topic about certificates, how Kubernetes different control plane components are interacting with each other using TLS certificates, and where those certificates are available and how we can renew those certificates. And we have to also see upgrade plan command that is very useful, that will show that what is your current version and how we can upgrade to the latest version. And in our last session we cover about, if I open the my YouTube channel, so in this channel you can see in the playlist Kubernetes. So last training version, this video 11. So here we cover about the metric server and HPA auto scaling in detail. So today we will start with the Adam certificate upgrade plan, and then we will look into the how to back up your ETCD database and how to restore it. So to understand this ETCD, we must have to understand about the certificates too. So this is my Kubernetes cluster, kubectl get nodes. It's good and up and running. And so kube Adam, if you remember, we had a command that we used to provision the cluster. So kube Adam has a lot of functionalities in order to in sense of administration of Kubernetes cluster. So if I look into kubeadm help, so you can see uh, we can check the certificates command related to the handling Kubernetes certificates. Okay, so if I do kubeadm certs, and there are these options: certificate key, check expiration, so and renew. So if I do search check expiration, so these are all the certificates issued by the certificate authority locally running inside the cluster. So admin.conf file that I have, it has its own certificate, and those certificates validity is up to 1 year. By default, when you provision a cluster, it will give you a 1 year certificate validity. So as a Kubernetes administrator, it's your responsibility to take care of these certificates too. So these are expiring by this date, this time. And then API server certificates, okay, API ETCD client certificate, kubelet client. I mean, kubelet is communicating with the API. ETCD is communicating with the API, and ETCD has its own certificate. Controller manager, ETCD health check client, because ETCD is a database and it is doing its own health check. ETCD peer, it's a database, key value based database, and it is when you are running multi-master cluster. So multiple ETCD will interact with each other using this certificate. ETCD server certificate, proxy, and scheduler. So these are the certificates, and how to renew these certificates. If I want to renew, so this is not a difficult job. I can just do renew and hyphen help. So I can see, I can put all, it will renew all the certificates. I can really renew any certificate by providing the name of that certificate. So if I do all, so it is now renewing all the certificates from the certificate authority. And if I now check the expiration, you can see it's updated up to, I mean, June 25th. Today is June 25th, 2024, and it will be, it is valid up to June 25th, 2025. And the time right now is 21:05. But if I see the older one, time is different, date is different. Okay, so this was just a review about how to renew this. And another thing is where these certificates are stored. So if we go etc Kubernetes manifest directory, these are all the static parts for the etcd API, controller manager, and scheduler. And if I open, for example, etcd manifest, so in this manifest, the command, this container has these commands. And in these command, the certificate path is also provided to etcd server. So when etcd service will start, it will use all these parameters. The cert file, where is this cert file? It's under the etc Kubernetes PKI. So this is the core directory that contains all the certificates. So this is its certificate file. This is the key file, and this is the certificate authority file. So uh, these are the three files we need when we will manage our etcd database. So rest of all certificates are also available just for that specific purpose. But these are the certificates that we can use when we will interact with the etcd. So if I go again to any other manifest, like Cube API, so Cube API also has this is the command that will start and with all these parameters. And here you can see the set CA, because etcd, the API server, the architecture I explained you in very first lecture uh, of Kubernetes cluster. So we saw that the API is interacting directly with the etcd database. So this API server is making connectivity with the etcd based on the certificates of etcd database. So that's why here etcd database certificate key, and certificate authority file reference is given. Okay, and if we go down, we can see the API server own certificate and certificate authority and server and key file are given here. Okay, and so this is the certificate authority for etcd, and it issued uh, special certificates for the API server. These certificates are different than the I showed you in the etcd config file. So this based on these certificate, API server is making communication with etcd server. And uh, if one more thing I will show you, that the etcd server address is given here. So on the same server, localhost, because we have one master node, and this master node is acting directly as a etcd, and the port of etcd is 2379. So this is the API. This URL is the API request to connectivity for the etcd database. Similarly, if we look into control manager, so same story you can see here. The controller manager has its certificates, and its configuration file is defined here, and the certificates. Okay, so wherever this controller manager need to make connectivity, all those certificates are available here. And the last thing is scheduler. So scheduler is not using any specific TLS certificate. This is a complete configuration file. So if I go under the ETC Kubernetes PKI, and here you can see all the certificates are available. The API server and its certificate authority, proxy, and the ETCD certificates are available under this location. Okay, so now these all certificates you can see right now updated. Its update time is updated when I renew the certificate. So with this way we can manage our certificates. So next command is kube atom upgrade plan. So if I run, if you want to see what is the current version of the Kubernetes cluster and what is the latest version available, and our current cluster is connected with the internet. So kube atom upgrade plan. So it is running a health check of your current cluster, and it will give you a report what is happening uh, and what variants are running there. So this report is generated, and now you can see our current variant is 1.2810, and the latest variant is this one. And all the components, API variant, controller manager, scheduler, proxy, all the variants you can see here. And the latest variant, I have the minor, this is the minor variant update command. Upgrade apply will apply on only minor variant update. So 1.2811 latest available. But the latest highest variant of the cluster on the in the Kubernetes Google repository, so Kubernetes is this one. So to upgrade to this one is a different way, but to upgrade the minor variant, we can use kubeatom upgrade. Apply, it will upgrade the minor variant without any downtime. Okay. Okay, so this was about the upgrade and the minor variant. I will not apply this, but we will do the major variant update in a separate exercise. And next is ETCD backup. So ETCD database is by default, if I go under ETCD, Kubernetes manifest directory, and here we have ETCD YML. So this is a manifest of ETCD. And here you can see the host path volume is created with name etcd data, and another host path volume is created etcd sets. Both these directories are residing locally on this master node. So these locally available host path volume are mounted inside the etcd container. You can see mount path, this mounted from ETCD data, and ETCD data is pointing on the host machine under the var lib ETCD, and it is mounted with the same path inside the container. So whatever you will change on your host machine on the master node, it will change within the container. And similarly, the certificates are available on the master node, and it is mounted inside the cluster here. So if I go on my master machine at this path var lib etcd, this is the location where this etcd database data files are available. This is the member directory, and this is the whole directory structure. And snap, and you can see this is the db file, and these are some snapshots created by the cluster. So now we have to take a look how we can take backup of this etcd database. So for this purpose, I will show you some etcd documentation. If I write here etcd, so operating etcd cluster for Kubernetes. So what is etcd? etcd is consistent and highly available key value store used as Kubernetes backing store for all cluster data. If your Kubernetes cluster use etcd as its backing store, make sure you have a backup plan for the data. So we must have we should take backup of this etcd. Whatever resources you have created will be backed up. The other way is to take the backup of all the manifest you apply, whatever resources you create, just save those manifest somewhere. And in case you lost your cluster, you can reapply on different cluster, or so everything will be back. But this is also a good idea. You should take the configurational backup of etc, because a lot of resources are created by different users, so it is almost impossible to maintain all the manifest created by different users. So etcd will take backup of all your config maps, secrets, pods, deployment, replica set, stateful set, whatever you resources created. So etcd control is the command that is used to uh, take, these are the two utilities you need. These are basically the client utilities for the etcd database connectivity. The command line tools that interact with the etcd cluster, but they serve different purpose. The primary etcd control is the primary command line client for interacting with the etc over the network. If I install this etcd on my Windows machine or MacBook or wherever on the remote machine, and I can reach to the etcd database on the port number, and I can reach to master node IP, and that port is reachable for me, then I can remotely administrator do the administration of etcd database using this command. It is used for day-to-day operations such as managing keys and values, administrating a cluster, check health, and more. So remotely, I can connect with this database just like we are connecting with our MySQL, Postgres, whatever database we are using. Similarly, this is also database, and API server is interacting with this database using certificates, and this database is not username password protected. It is only certificate protected. If someone have that certificate authority and certificate and key file for the etcd, and have the connectivity accessibility to the etcd database, they connect with the database. Anyone can connect with the database. Operations okay, and etcd utl is the administration utility designed to operate directly on etcd data files, including my gating data between etcd variant, defragmentation, restoration, snapshotting, and validating data consistency. So this utility is directly working on the file system level. So ETCD run ETCD cluster in an odd number. So ETCD cluster, if you are running you want, when we will run the multi-master cluster. So multi-master cluster, each master will contain an ETCD, and that's why we cannot create the multi-master in two or four quantity. It must be odd, either 1, 3, 5, or 7, or 9, because there an election happening in etcd database as a master and slave, I think. And the election will only be when if there are odd number of participating members. So leader selection is happen based on some election when this etcd multi instance are running. So our agenda is to understand how can we interact with our ETCD, how we can interact with our ETCD. So I showed you, if I quickly go again, Kubernetes manifest, API server. In the API server, you can see the API server is interacting on the local host, means on the same server where API is running on this port. This port is opened by the container running on this master node. So if I run netstat-entup, so you can see a lot of ports are opened by our different components. The API server, open port, making, and they are interacting with each other. So those all connection are mentioned here. But if I show you here, ETCD, this is running on this directly on this IP on this master node, and 2379 is the port number, and also running on the local host. That's why in that file they mentioned the local host. So IP you can change, but localhost will remain localhost. To remember, 2379 is the port number of ETCD. And if I just do a grab to this port, so you will see that all the connection with ETCD are made by API server only. Scheduler or controller manager is not making direct connectivity with your ETCD. So you can see this connection established from, this is the source port and to this port. So both services are running on the same machine. So that's why this is the source IP and this is the destination IP. But this port is showing that this service, ETCD service, had a connection with this port remotely. And if I 42963 is initiated and it's going outside, outside mean the another IP, that is the same machine, 2379. So all the connections you can see are open and established with API server, because API server is directly interacting with this database, updating all the information that is happening within the cluster or for the new resources. Okay, so now we have to look one more thing, that when we will set up this multi-master, In that case, we will not use localhost IP as a ETCD IP. We will set up some load balancer and we will send request to that load balancer, and then load balancer will send request to the ETCD database. That's why they mentioned here with multi-master we must have to define load balancer and then the port number. So when we will set up this multi-master in our next sessions, I will show you how to, in that case, this IP will change to the load balancer IP instead of 127.0.0.1. Okay. Okay. Now we have to make an understanding how we can make a connectivity with our ETCD database. So I need this utility ETCD CTL. I believe my master node ETCD CTL. Yes, this utility is available. If this is not available, I think you can use apt install ETCD client package. CLINT ETCD. Yeah, this is already available. So this package you can install on any machine, any Linux machine. So far I'm working on master node, but it can be from any machine that can reach to port 2379 on master node. So far I don't want to spin up another virtual machine. So I will do this exercise from my master node, but you can do from any machine that contain this utility ETCD CTL. Okay. So ETCD CTL utility hyphen hyphen help. You can see I can use for the backup purpose, for update, for listing, for different make directory and member listing, how many different members are running in my cluster on removing, adding for ETCD. So far I have only one member. So how we can interact with the ETCD? If I show you, if you read this, then limiting access to ETCD cluster. After configuring secure communication, restricting access to the ETC cluster is only the Kubernetes API server and the TLS authentication method. It's not a username password. If you see this note, ETCD authentication is not planned for Kubernetes. I mean, it's certificate based, reachable. So how I will interact with my ETCD to take the backup from my remote machine. So just this is a command. In this command, this is the variable I am declaring that the API version for ETCD is version 3. The latest version is this one. And ETCD control command, I'm using the endpoint which ETCD database I want to connect. So this will be the master node IP, and then the port number, and then I have to provide the certificates and key and certificate authority that will validate these certificates, and then I can do a member list. I can also do a backup activity, that is a different command. I can also do a restoration with the same command. First I will show you how to list the member. So etcd API, I need to, okay, so maybe in your case, your certificates are at a different location. In the manifest and etcd YML, and here you can see the certificate file path is mentioned here. So we can consult with this file when we are going to mm, take backup for interacting with. So since I am on the master node, so I have these files directly available on the master node. But when you will work ETCD from the remote machine, you need to copy these three files to that machine, and then you can run this command. So far, I will just use this command because this command contains the same path, whatever is mentioned here, server cert, server key, CSRT, ETCD, because this is the default path. Let me run this command. And here what I will change the IP of my master node, or I can do a local host. I have this port open, and this is the certificate file. This is a key file, certificate authority, and then the MEMB or LIST member list. I think I did a mistake when I copy paste this command. Duplicate it. Yes, this is the complete command. This command, I just declare a variable that this variant 3, this is this you must have to define. And etc control command, and then the where I want to connect, and member list. So right now I have only one member running on this machine, and it's in started trade. This is the ID of this member. So when we will do the multi-master, it will report as the multi-master, multi members on different master, and I think it will also show the assigned responsibility of this ETCD, different members. So this was the one command. The other thing, I can do the backup. So if I do hyphen help, so cert, I use this one. So I can use member list, member add, uh, yes, snapshot, save, okay, store and etcd node backend snapshot to the given file. If I look into the documentation, there will be replacing the fail member. Okay, that is different. Backing up the etcd cluster. And here you can see snapshot save. Yes, this is the same command. Snapshot save I can use here, and then I will give the path, just like under the root I want to save, give the name of the file, etcd backup, and I can provide some date. Yeah, today is 26/06/2024 dot what dot is not mandatory, dot db, just database with the database file. Dot db is not mandatory, just a representation I'm using here. So if when I will press enter, so this file is saved here. Its size is 7.3 megabyte. Okay. So let me check if I ran something pod hyphen dev. Okay. This one, get to deployment. Node deployment is running this pod in termination state. Let me clean up everything. I deleted hyphen. I think this is some orphan pod. We need to read this like this. Okay, deployment, and I remember I create some config map. I think I cleared that, and I create some secret. Yeah, I create these secrets. Okay, so let me create one config map, and then I will take backup, and I will delete these resources. And when I will restore this backup, you will see all these resources are back. So kubectl create config map hyphen hyphen have config map name. I can do some db config map and from literal any value I can use. Just user user one pass equal to 1 2 3 4, like in the dev namespace I'm creating. So kubectl get config map. So this is a config map. This is secret. We just take a note that these resources are available, and kubectl get deployment in the dev namespace. Let me just quickly apply. I think yesterday we had this Nginx and with one replica side in the dev. Okay, so I will apply this manifest kubectl apply the dev namespace created. It's taking time. Pod what's pending? kubectl describe successfully assigned. Okay, I think this is some slow response. Successfully assigned. Why it is not scaling? Okay, this is I think a different story, but I just want to create a resource. Just leave it right now. I don't want to waste time in this troubleshooting. Delete deployment. My cluster is healthy. I think something is missing. No problem. But okay. So far I showed you config map and secret in the dev namespace. Okay, I have these two resources. Let me take the backup again. Taking the backup again. Just changing the file name. Already we have a file. This is the updated backup that contain also the remove this, the secret, whatever I created in the ETCD. Okay, it's deleted. And now what I will do, this database backup, ETCD backup contain all the current state, mean these resources, secret. Let me delete these resources. Config map, I am going to delete db config map in the dev namespace and delete secret. Secret name I will give these secrets. Okay. Last time we created, I'm deleting all secrets. Okay, so there is the some default config map. I cannot delete, I don't want to delete this. And there is no secret. Oh, everything is deleted. But I have this backup of this database when these resources were available. Now I have to restore the database. So to restore the database, restoring ETCD cluster. So you need to define data directory and snapshot restore. So the same command I will call, but I don't need to specify these certificates because this time I'm not going to interact with my current ETCD. I just need to restore the data files. So I will do, I will supply the data directory snapshot restore. Okay. ETCD. Data directory where I want to restore. It's by default, it's under the var lib, and I will create a directory etcd new. Right now it's by default etcd. So I will restore the database under this directory. It will automatically create this directory snapshot restore from this database and use this utility, this directory. Okay, everything good. Okay, good. Everything is restored and this directory is created and this member and snap, everything is created, db, everything is created. Okay, good. Just remember this file, this path. Now our etcd is running under this location. This is the manifest. And in this manifest, the host path is defined a path to this location that is the old, but I want to replace this path with this new one. So now this volume that is creating mapping inside my etcd pod under this location using this name. So this name is etcd data, it's etcd data. Okay, so I am making this directory on the host machine to be mountable under this container at this location. So now etcd will have the new data file path. Okay, very good. Now what we can do, okay, now the task is we need to restart all these Kubernetes components. API is interacting with etcd. etcd is disturbed because I around the runtime change its host path. So what I will do, I will shut down all these static pods. I will move, all these ones. So I will move all these YML files under the temp or anywhere else. So everything is removed here. Okay. So now kubectl get kubectl will not run because my API is nothing. Everything is down. Kubectl get pod. It will not respond to me because API is down. So how can interact? I told you in last sessions. CLI CTLPS is the way we can directly interact with the containers. So on the master node, Calico is running, API server is still running, ETC is gone, scheduler is gone, control manager is gone, but API is still running. It's taking time to remove core DNS. They are running, proxy is running. Okay, so let's wait. All these container will be removed. It will take a while to clear everything when we are removing these manifest. Okay, now everything gone. Now you can see API, ETCD, controller, scheduler, everything gone. The core DNS, Calico, core those container are running, and we cannot interact with our cluster because API, all the components are down. Now I will move back all the YAMLs I took back up under the temp to same location back. And whenever we are placing the manifest of the pod under this location, it will start as static pod. So you can see ETCD, API, controller, scheduler are back. Okay. It's mean I can interact with API. It's mean kubectl command will also run get pod -n dev namespace. Okay. Okay. It's running, and kubectl get pod -n kube system, and you can see this everything is back. ETCD is back, API is back. Okay, very good. Let me query to kubectl get a secret in the dev namespace. You can see it's back. I deleted these resources, and I also deleted the config map. It's back. So because now my etcd is pointing to the directory where I restore my etcd backup. So I hope you got the point. So this was the agenda of today's session. In our next session, we are going to look into the crown jobs, scheduling of a job uh, on frequent basis. And in next session, we will also would like to see how to upgrade the cluster variant, major variant. So that's all for this session so far.